go ahead. And there we go. So I'd like you to meet Walker. I've known him for a little while now. He's got a very intuitive and symbolic website and or YouTube channel, I should say, and I'll put the link in the description at the below this recording. And he is a tarot practitioner and from Florida, USA. And I'm up here in Canada, Vancouver, which is the other side of the continent.
Yeah.
We're separated by quite a lot of area, but in a way, we are not separated because all humans are connected. And I think tarot has a lot of meaning for us in that sense. So please, Walker, to tell me, what for people who don't really know and they've seen the cards, but what is tarot? How does it work? And what do you think about it in general?
Uh, so I tarot for me is essentially moments that has been captured in cards through people's lives that has been able to be expressed. And it makes it easier to connect to the other side. And then I really didn't get into it until like later in my life. I mean, I seen it when I was a kid, but because of my family, they're really in the Catholic and Protestant side,
Oh,
so they stayed away from that. But as a kid, I lived with my brother, um, for educational reasons for 15 years. So he took care of me for like a long time.
mhm.
And I was able to experience an exposure to different moments in my life that seems to keep coming back to these cards. It's like over and over. And I was like, wow. Not until I got to college, I really started going to a couple shops. I got my first tarot cards, start studying them. And it's just hit the ground running ever since. So it really is moments that actually are expressed by your guides that is the best way to explain to you. Because
Who are our guides?
I your friends, your family, from other past lives.
So they've passed, they're on the other side, but
Yes.
they're still able to communicate with us, but not directly.
They can, yeah, not directly because we are in bodies. It's hard for us to, when we were raised, we thought, oh, voices in the head. Don't believe those voices. To like lock you up and
Would
put
you
you
say
away.
would you say it's like, how SEAL Team 6 has got those goggles and they can do night vision?
Yeah,
Normally, our eyes can't see that frequency. Are we separated in a kind of frequency difference
frequency difference.
or dimension difference?
You would say dimensions, more like dimensions, the separation. That's why information is so screwed. That's why I just posted my Gemini, Moon in Gemini video.
Yes.
And I actually made a hint that one of your guy's favorite ways to connect with you is license plates. Maybe go out on a drive and you actually see, you're just looking around and you see certain license plates, you see certain numbers. They
Right.
actually connect with you with those numbers. And it's connected to how it is connected with your life and what those numbers mean to
So
you.
here I am stuck in that traffic jam getting over the bridge, and that license plate,
Yeah.
I have to stare at it for 30 minutes. There's something there that I'm meant to see.
Yes.
Whoa.
And numbers is like even going to mathematics, like I wasn't really big into mathematics, even though I tried to go to school for aerospace engineering, but that
Grammat-
didn't work out.
You're talking about
But
grammatia,
yeah,
grammatria.
my math in general, like had as I was growing up, there's something I always struggled with, but I had to work extra hard.
Ah,
And I remember the times table very young.
right.
And one of my favorite numbers was 12 times 12, which is 144.
Mhm.
And throughout my life, I always see 144.
Hmm.
And it's strange because in that time, 144, for example, 44, it's always been known as fortitude. And strong fortitude is always in your life that you need to actually get things going, get things done, strength through the hard times, and things that, it's okay, just go ahead and do it. And one is always known as self. And looking back at it now, I'm seeing that from the other side, my spirit guides were really showing, you know, you have strength, you have support. It's okay. And it was towards me or one, the self. Because singular is usually always a self or a form.
The funny thing about that is I kind of understand what you mean, because I live in an address, and my address is 208, which makes 10, which is like 1.
Yeah, one.
And the funny thing is I live in the same place for a long time. I don't move much. And the previous excuse me, I've been teaching and my throat's a little bit worn out.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll recover. But my previous address in Victoria, Canada, where I lived for almost 20 years, was 109.
Yeah, that is leads to one,
And
which is
there it goes again. And it's not just like a license plate that's ephemeral, that's going down the road. I live at a 1. I am a 1. I just can't get away from it.
it's it's actually a good thing that you bring that up because I remember when I was learning numbers and actually going through doing my own research
Yes.
until I ended up in Jay Ara's site and how he explains his numbers. One was something they used to have houses and special meanings to houses that you go to, which is a more of a long-term effect throughout your life.
Right.
And so what number, which is condensed, I was able to figure out why certain places that I knew to certain apartments when I was in Austin, why the situations and things that happened, it really was interesting. Just going back to his how he explains his numbers, especially with one. Um, for you, it will definitely be learning of self, learning of being aware, learning of actually the things around you, and just continue doing that. But if you, for example, you go to 2, you go to a house of 2, normally that's actually a good house to have with your loved one, with someone that you're caring, your spouse. And this 2 is always known as understanding or compassion.
Uh-huh.
So as you go on, continue, a lot of those meanings, a lot of the numbers connected to you has a strong connection to the other side. You guys always bring you there.
So I sorry to ask these basic questions, but I'm
Go ahead.
myself am quite ignorant about tarot. Although I've tried to understand it over the years, but just to correct me if I'm wrong, is it kind of connected in a scientific way to the fact that we're born at a certain time in a certain place in the universe, on this earth, and that there's one condition of our birth, and that is the placement of the stars, the planets, the earth, the moon, the sun, and there's some kind of influence on those particular placements of heavenly bodies when we were born, when we come into this world. And is that the tarot that pertains to us?
Absolutely. It's like the best way to explain when you say for horoscopes,
Right.
um, it's the best. It's more like a snapshot
Right.
of your frequencies at that moment, and everything that's literally is going to happen throughout that life that's supposed to happen,
Uh-huh.
and the position of the planets, the position of the moon, the actual down to the number. It's the
Right.
most important thing. That's why when people who are reading horoscopes or reading your charts always ask of your birthday,
Yep.
the place where you were born,
Yep.
and even the time of when you're born,
Yes.
because that's very important.
Okay.
For, go
Full,
ahead. Yeah.
full disclosure. I once asked my mom that question. And I asked her, like, I know my birthday, but what time was I born? And she kind of looked at me with a funny look on her face. And she said, why is that important? And I said, oh, don't worry, Mom, just tell me. And she said, well, you were born sometime between 10 and 11 a.m. on May 2nd, 1961. And she said, I don't remember exactly. It could have been 10:30 because I was kind of unconscious at the time because I was going through labor. And I couldn't ask my dad because my dad's passed. And I was, really interested in that. And I'm not asking for a reading from you tonight.
Oh no,
But you know what I mean?
okay, yeah,
I found that out.
whatever comes through will come through. I will let you know.
As soon as I found out the time that I was born, things started to wake up for me spiritually. I started to get attracted to more and more information, people like Jay, people like Frank, people like yourself. And that was many, many years ago, but still, I'm still learning every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, it's a spiral. It has a beginning and an end, but the beauty of it is the journey that you go through.
Right.
And that's why numbers actually has always been important. Guys always use numbers as a start because you have to start somewhere to end somewhere, but you have to start somewhere through the learning of connecting to your guides. Because for me, it was numbers. And then it started going from numbers to words, and from connecting the words to the numbers using the Pythagoras table. Because
Wow.
he had, so for example, when you're a lot of tarot channels use it was the Sumerian tablet. There was a number system that they used. That's actually not the right one to use.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's called Chaladen or Shaden, the
Right.
Chlden, Chalden,
Could it be Chaldean?
Chaldean, yeah.
That's an ancient civilization, which is a mysterious one.
Yeah, this is based off of Babylon. That number system is actually messed up. It's actually, I was led or guided to use the Pythagoras table, and it's just basically going from numbers all the way from 1 to 9, and then just put in the alphabet, all the alphabet words in a row, and
I've,
down to the last.
I've always known that Pythagoras was more than a mathematician. He was the leader of a mystery school, mystery
Yes,
school of secret knowledge only for the people who were willing to devote themselves. In other words, the truth or the mysteries are not for people without ears to hear. You have to do the work. You can't just,
yes.
broadcast it on CNN.
So that was really how I started like connecting my words and condensing um, certain information because I have to go back to the numbers. That's how they started.
Wow.
And so eventually it got to the point where I'm seeing words in, you know, quotes that are just one or two. And I take the time, to go and separate and take the numbers down and write it down. I'll
Yes.
get condensing down to a 10, maybe to a 9, to an 8.
Yes.
And it was really how it brought me into tarot and better connection with my guys, getting information with the collective wisdom that allows me to actually use it, which makes my life way easier and have a new perspective.
Is it like more efficient? Because
Yeah, much more efficient.
you're not wasting your time doing things that are energetically out of sync with what your mission is on life.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you can kind of focus more on what is resonating in a harmonious way. Is that a one way to say it?
Yeah, yeah. It's all connection. It's really any word that you can think of that goes along with the connection has a number that you can listen down to that you guys are using. That's why I always had trouble with saying certain words because
Right.
I realized over time that there's an energetic imprint that is behind it that you should realize it's not a good thing to say that. It's not really a good idea to say that. That's why going a little off track with like the government,
Go
how they
for
use
it. Go for it.
word
Totally
propaganda.
open, totally open conversation.
So when I was doing my own research, just on the government and on propaganda, You can definitely see the same type of words they use. And a lot of those words always went to 33. It was always an interesting numbers. All my life, I always see 33. I was like, what is
Are
that?
you suggesting that the Mockingbird media uses certain phrases and certain words that can be reduced to the same numbers, and that those numbers have a certain power, which is helpful for them, but perhaps harmful to us?
Yeah, they use it's the energy that they put behind those numbers because the same energy that I'm putting in positively could be is different than what they're putting it as negative.
So they're practicing magic.
And so I want to get away from the word magic. It's more of they using what they have, what's around them, but limiting the information and knowledge to the people.
I agree. Magic is a misunderstood word. So let's use something like they're using energetic energies.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to go with it. Um, yeah, and seeing that propaganda over and over, and I was like, man, it's just weird. And
Repetition.
repetition.
The bigger the lie and the more often it's repeated, the more it resonates, even when you don't want it to resonate, because you get affected.
Yeah. And for actually the meaning for three was always been positive movements of groups of people.
Is it true that odd numbers have an energetic movement, whereas even numbers have a more stable foundational?
Looking at it now, you was definitely could say even numbers are definitely more solid and odd numbers are definitely one of the few sets that actually are ambiguous to.
Because you mentioned 33 being one of
Yeah,
the numbers that all of their propaganda boils down to. If you
it's
do,
more of an action. Think of more action and what should we call it? Solid. So someone being hesitant or someone being, just like an earthing energy. It's just
right.
strong foundation. But if you use an odd number, it's more of an action, getting something done. So just maybe going back with propaganda and the media, they're actively using it over and over and over.
And it's
And
not an accident. They're doing it on.
no, it's not an accident sometimes. So it's really they know what they're doing, which is why I just started like staying away from the news and getting my research on my own and getting back to myself and actually getting to the tarot, actually connecting with my guides, getting true information.
Well, isn't that the transition from a 3D reality where you're just stuck in violence, oppression, misery, and emotion into a energetic mountain view? Now you're at the top of the mountain and you can see down and you can see yourself seeing down. And now you've got a control over
Yeah.
your life,
Oh,
your destiny, and over your heritage or your sovereignty. And that is because you're connected with something that's maybe you can't see it with your eye, but you can re-experience it in your life.
yes. It's man, it's been such a long journey now coming realizing because today for I was at the beach and my guides they can do this too where they make you turn your head
I
sometimes.
really want to hear about those beaches in Florida because I've seen some photos and oh my,
Oh, they're beautiful. It's hot right now, but it's very beautiful.
you got
uh,
great beaches down there. Tell me.
indeed. I was sitting down and I was made the turn to the right, and I see this young man,
Yeah,
and it's probably just about my age,
right.
and he wasn't his back of his shirt wasn't turned to me, but all of a sudden I was looking, he turned, and guess what? 333.
Now you're telling me this guy probably works for a three-letter agency.
He just was wearing the shirt. Maybe he just felt like it. I don't know. He just like, I'm on the 333. I like this. I'm gonna embody this. But for
Walker, do
me,
you really believe that that's just an accident?
oh no, I say there's no coincidences. There's no accidents, but there are happenstances.
Right.
So there's no coincidence. I can't talk today. There's no
You're doing fantastic, and don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Remember, I'm kind of like a talk machine because that's my job and I've got a lot of experience. But I
Yeah.
must say that you're very eloquent this evening.
All the things that's happened in your life, and all
Yeah,
the things that has been done to you or has been done to others, has
yes,
been done on purpose. There are rare times, and this is why it's rare, that is happenstances where no one involved had any say or had done anything around that. It just
right,
happened.
right.
Those things, even on the other side, had no control. For example, when Jay talks about the dimensions, the actual original source energy,
Yes,
where it's literally it just by happenstance, it really, all the energies by energetic for life has
yes,
come together,
yes.
just happen to come in. Those are rare, but everything else, spirit has been there every step.
Is it true? And I'm not expecting you to answer yes or no or give me, the
Yeah,
profound explanation because nobody knows. I don't know. But is it true that as you yourself grow, as you yourself raise up in your understanding, these happenstances are given to you like little apples falling out of a tree?
yeah, yeah.
And they're like little chances and little spirit guide messages, shall we say, or presents that help us. And that everybody gets them, but they don't see them. But if you get to a certain point where you're able to discern what's going on around you more clearly, then you can take advantage.
Yeah.
Would you say?
That's why it's important to trust yourself. Um,
Yeah,
a lot of because if you can trust yourself, and yes, it is a long journey. I mean, some others has experienced different things that makes it hard to trust themselves, including myself. But you get to that point, you realize that all these signs around you, all the signs that your higher self, your true self inside of your body, that's trapped in this body, is trying to tell you. The guides are trying to help you. Uh, Maybe trying to get to a certain job, or maybe a certain
right.
person. Yeah, a certain person that you're in love with. The
Or in
signs are
hate,
there.
or in hate with.
Yeah, and it's your innate abilities to really connect, and tarot really just brings that all together. It's a start. I wouldn't say it's the end. Tarot, you can change the definition, and the guys can give you different definitions later on. You can read the definitions that the people is given for these cards, but at the end of the day, over time, as you get a better connection with yourself, better connection with the other side, you have a stronger definition of what that meaning for that card or that word or that number.
At that time in your life, that day of the week,
Yeah.
or depending on you and your age when you were born and so on, and the resonation or the harmony that it connects with you personally. Because obviously, like for example, I was extremely impressed when you did a tarot a couple of days ago about a bull, a Taurus, and I'm
Hmm.
a Taurus, I'm born in May. And it seemed to resonate with me so strongly what you were saying that I knew you had no idea that who I was at that time as far as my birth date was concerned,
Yeah.
and I knew right away that there was a profound meaning there, and right away I reached out to you and invited you to have an interview with me because I knew that there was a hidden guide.
Yeah.
There was a guidance happening.
Uh-huh. They always give you a little wink. They're like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna bring you along. Oh yeah, watch it, watch it.
Watch that. And there's something good. And something good will come from this. And we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah. That's the beauty of communication. Um, but I'll keep this short. I was born with hearing loss.
Oh,
60% deaf in my right ear, 40% deaf in my left ear. And I've been wearing hearing aids all my life.
I see.
And biggest problem I had was communication.
right?
I didn't know how to talk to people. So a good chunk of my life in the beginning as a child, I was mute. I had to actually use, I now looking back at it, I was using my abilities strongly just to understand people because there was no way for me to communicate that.
Wow.
So it was very important at that time for me to learn. And I kind of shut it off once I started being able to speak again and learning their like being go to school.
Right.
And then I realized that a lot of times like my family members would say are very like against certain things I say to them because they realize it's true and they couldn't say outright.
You say you came from a religious family.
Yeah. So there's things I will say that could have happened or I felt before they know what they're about to say, and it kind of freaked them out.
Was it fair to say that your lack of oral and you know linguistic ability heightened your empathy, heightened your ability to understand things at another level?
Yeah, I
Just like a blind person can have fantastic hearing.
mhm. it's it's always just relaxing and quieting yourself that over time when you're constantly using that and trusting yourself more and more, it's just like, oh, okay, this is why she did this for this moment, and then why this food was expected her. I understand, so I help her with the food change, take that away. Or it's something to do with how you do your, for example, technique. I may not be able to explain it, but I was able to understand through the energies, through the movements. I was able to see that, and being having to use that early on, it was a big deal. I actually remember. It's funny enough that Jay actually just talking about the sleep paralysis.
Yes.
I had many. I mean, I honestly at this point I can't count them. Way too many times where I wake up paralyzed, and I see something. I see like up in the corner. It's just a lot more colors coming in, and
That's
at
the
that
other that's the other side
yeah,
perception.
the other side, like the second dimension, and I was seeing that as a kid early on, and I had many sleep paralysis. I got so used to that.
Well,
So it opened my mind and made it easier for me to trust.
it opened your mind and it expanded your abilities, which normally are not expanded, and many children lose them because it's not required. In fact, it might even be beaten out of them by our education
Yeah,
system.
yeah. The beating part was a big deal. I can definitely remember there were times where I see the energies behind my parents and seeing them being controlled, and it was like, this is not you. You're not doing this.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'd like to switch gears and
Yeah.
get emotional, get personal. I personally believe that some people who have a mission or a job to do suffer the most in this life because this is not our normal habitat.
No.
We are invaders in enemy territory. I'll keep this short, don't worry.
It's okay.
This is, in my view, hell. This is a place under dominant control that's negative, and that when we come here, it's a painful experience, and it could even be a deadly or destructive experience. And we are given challenges. Now, I'm not going to explain who Jay is because that's our connection, and if people want to find out, they can do the work. Okay, but
That's important.
that's important. But as Jay, as you know, it clearly defines the point that we have been abused to the point where originally the idea was if we're put under pressure, we will grow, we will expand. It's the old idea of you throw the kid in the water and they can sink or they can swim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Like, and let them work it out. And if they sink too bad, they weren't strong enough. And if they can swim, they'll be stronger and that'll give them a benefit in the future. But of course, I don't agree with that. I think that can be become an abusive situation that goes too far.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you right now that there are very, very, by the way, I've never mentioned this to anyone except one person in my life. Um, but there's very, very few Canadians that are alive, born in April, May, or June of 1961. And that's because of thalidomide. Thalidomide was a drug prescribed and given as a trial experiment to Canadian mothers to stop morning sickness. And they had no background information on it. It was the Eli Lilly company. Okay, I got myself banned. There, we killed ourselves. I mentioned them. I mentioned the name of the beast.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is that the people who took that drug, their babies were born with flippers instead of arms and legs. Okay,
Interesting.
severe DNA deformity. Now, my mom, she came home with after a visit to the doctor because she was pregnant with me, and she had the little bottle in it, and it was the thalidomide. And anyone can look this up and see the whole thing on the internet, although a lot of the information has been deleted. And they can find out that this was a trial. She didn't have to pay for that. The doctor gave it to her. He said, "Here's a gift. Here's a gift from Eli Lilly. You can have this, and you can reduce your morning sickness symptoms because pregnant women, frequently vomit in the morning."
Yeah.
And my dad looked at that and he went, what's this stuff? I didn't order this. We didn't pay for this. We didn't get a prescription. And she said, well, the doctor said it's going to be good. And he said, you're part of a trial here. This is an experimental medication. Hell no. He
Wow.
threw it in the garbage because his own father was a surgeon. My father's father, my grandfather, was a surgeon, and my dad knew right away this is an experimental trial. This hasn't been tested on monkeys. This hasn't been tested on anybody. And within 3 months, it was found out that it was an extremely dangerous drug that caused massive birth defects, almost 100%. Anybody who took it had this problem. And right away, anyone who had taken it went for an abortion. And in those days, abortion in Canada was illegal unless it was prescribed by a physician. And
Wow.
all of them got prescribed by physicians. They were trying to cover it up. So
Indeed.
literally tens of thousands of women in that time period did therapeutic abortions in Canada. This is not 1961. It was a different world in those days. And I don't know anybody born in the same months as me. I'm just alone here.
My goodness.
How's that
Wow.
for a story?
Oh man, that is definitely, I love that. And
And
it's also informative because I did not know that.
no,
And
yeah.
oh, wow. So April, May, June, and this trial over 10.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's in Canada. There was another couple of countries, I believe Sweden was another country that they used as a trial. So it wasn't in the United States. Thalidomide, you see, you've never heard of it because thalidomide was not available in the US. They did the trial in Canada and they did the trial, I believe it was in Sweden or Norway. I can't
Oh,
remember.
they always do trials outside the United States before they bring it in.
Yeah, because they were getting ready for the big payday, the big
Yeah.
they're gonna find out that it works here and it's going to become popular, and they don't want to see. In those days they didn't want to spend the money. The FDA didn't have the power in those days, and they didn't want to spend the money on a lot of trials and things with millions of people. They just a little small case, and they thought it was a harmless drug. I'm not saying that Eli Lilly was evil and knew that it caused birth defects. They did not know. It was an accident.
It's
And,
always
and
active.
I'm an accidental survivor, and so are you, my friend, because you've survived a disability too, and now it's made you stronger.
Yes, it has.
And guess look, and you're looking at the bull, number one.
Yeah. Bulls are strong. They always are, and they last a long time.
It does.
And you don't mess with the bull, you
No
will get
way.
the horns.
No way.
I'm glad that Luna Toys really did connect with you because that actually comes full circle, coming around with disabilities and actually bringing um, that understanding and support of knowing that, yeah, your guys really are there for you. And the wisdom that you gain from them, and the wisdom that you gain for yourself will allow you to be able to explain differently and better.
And it could be a matter of life and death.
Yeah, yeah. And this information could be brought to someone when soon in the future. They'll maybe come back to connect with you. And also they might be led by their guides to come to the video.
Absolutely.
It's just simple.
And it only takes one person. I mean, I don't care if we make this video and nobody cares about it much. I have a very few followers on my website. By the way, the people that have millions of followers, that's all bots.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like I at this that's why I was looking how tarot videos I watched them for years.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, I was like, man, they got a lot of followers, but the way they're doing it is kind of like, is that really the right way to do it? Is that you saying that information, and is that you come to find out the information is slightly wrong, or come to find out that maybe the energy that they're imprinting isn't good?
Look,
Or
I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but there's
no,
a
yeah, it's just a lot of misrepresentation. in
yes,
tarot.
and I'm not going to say anything, but there's a rule that I follow, and that is if they're selling something, then they're full of shit.
More often than not, yeah.
That's just me. That's just what I feel. You know.
Oh no, no, I actually agree with you. Like selling with tarot has become a. It's like, yeah, you need the money, but now it's how you get views. It's how you get likes. Social media works a certain way. You work with the social media, you work with the program. Boom, boom,
Oh,
boom.
I'm not saying donations are bad. I'm not saying donations are bad, but for example, taking money from a sponsor and then being seduced into being a link to a product that might have a negative agenda. I think that's wrong. But if somebody wants to gift you some money because they feel that the work you're doing is valuable to humanity, then you know what? I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to do my best to repay it 100-fold.
That's
And
right.
and energetically, if not materially, because that's the way life should be. It should not be exploitative. It should be communicative. We're in a
Mhm.
community here.
Having the heart to actually show information to people
Yep.
will come through, and any nefarious energies, when people feel that, they'll run the other way, because more often than not, that channel that may be innocent could be just gobbled up.
Walker,
Yeah.
you've been sending out your readings to the world, to humanity. And I think it's going to start to resonate because they're very, very interesting that you combine traditional tarot with runes. Please tell me more about that.
So when I started using the runes that I use, and it just got in cardboard. I used to work at a shipping company,
Right?
and I just like this got cardboard everywhere. I was like, oh, I can just use these cardboards. I didn't have any at home. So it's like, you know what? At the time, I didn't have enough money to buy anything,
Right?
and the site was being closed down and off and on, and the timing just wasn't working out. So I was like, you know, why don't I just write them down? So I did my best, got as many runes I can find from his site, from all his channels, and even from the book, um, and being able to understand the meanings.
Right.
Just draw them down on the cardboard. Yeah, I got no money, might as well just use it like this. And
Yeah.
then my understanding of regular tarot, I combine that for certain times of the week to make it easier for people to have an come into it, but make it simple, but very, very detailed in a way that allows people to actually feel. Because it's the most important thing with this channel is I'm not the channel. I'm just the guy that runs it. It's the spirit guides, the spirits on the other side giving you the information.
Absolutely right. I knew right away when I saw what you were doing that what this is not an explanation in at the verbal level or the intellectual level. This is a communication at the spiritual level. This is something you have to open yourself up to and stop your logical mind, stop your analytical reason, and let the message flow through you. And guess what? A lot of people have no idea what I just said. That sounds completely crazy. They don't even know what I'm talking about. But I know what I'm talking about, and I think there's like-minded people that will really understand and experience your channel.
Yeah, and also another thing is like it'll the people who can't read it, there are different types. So of course, there's people who are solar plexus going to have a harder time
Right.
understanding, but they will if they're willing to know and willing to actually just continue understanding at the beginning.
Right.
I that's why in the bio I actually the way I write it because at the first when I first started doing it, I just did it as a video, no explanation, nothing,
That's
and
right.
then eventually I realized, okay, you know what? Why don't I say a couple things? Then a couple things became a paragraph.
To help the begin.
Now, yeah, to help the beginner, because I realized like there are some people who won't understand it. There's people who are Pinot based that won't really need the information. They can see and actually understand. People who are heart based will feel the energy is coming through. It's actually the guys who are giving it to them. Because I'm not. I'm just putting it there. I'm just placing it, and that's it.
Would you like
So
to talk a little more about the energy centers within the human brain and how they help us connect to the other side?
most definitely. I'm gonna try to keep it simple. Uh, for me, it was I had a hard time actually.
No, no, this is not a test, and it's extremely difficult.
Oh no, yeah, I know. This is like
Oh,
uh, it was very difficult for me to actually understand myself through my energetic centers.
yes,
I was through the traditional seven chakras and the different ones and how they connect. I was like, staunch on that. I was like, wow, different colors really was it's quite interesting. But
right.
I just felt it was just off. And I couldn't understand myself. I was like, what's going on here? This like makes no sense. And eventually, once I came across Jay's videos
Yes,
and I started, realizing that he showed an example of where the energy centers are,
right.
and it kind of shortened the list. And actually, I can feel like where they were is like my heart, and not the heart is not just one color; it's multiple colors.
See, the heart, in my view, is what most people understand outside of their mind,
Yeah,
because hearts are made to be broken. And we've always had that feeling that we couldn't understand. And intellectually, like, how did my heart get broken by her? I don't even like her, but I still got an emotional attachment. So, what's that? And this is the illogical, romantic, spiritual connection that a lot of people experience. Uh, Please continue, though. There's the heart,
the
and
heart is still yeah. The heart was really I always was like with people. I always try to like understand and be empathy, have empathy for them because
yes,
when I was young, I had a hard time communicating, and to the point where I finally, through my hearing aids, through speech classes, I was able to
right.
speak. It just really was strong on me, and I always loved talking to people. I always loved understanding people,
You're a special person.
and understanding was something that was in the forefront. And it didn't click until I understand that it really was about compassion, and that was related to that. And that's why when you see all these colors, the healing green, the
Right.
earth, and you're walking your feet on the grass, you can feel that strength and your heart's just pumping because it's your energy. It's one of your strongest energy centers that you have. Your
Yes.
spirit core, part of your spirit core is through your heart. And so, with that understanding, you realize, oh, you're connecting with the earth, with
Yeah.
the spirit of the earth. The food that you eat is very
Right.
important. This is all related to the heart because the heart is the one that's pumping the blood.
That's an amazing evaluation. I just love that.
Yeah, and I come across that, and stepping away from the heart to the piano. Everyone understands like there's always all these videos just talking about the piano gland and having to make sure it's clean, eat clean. And for me, it was like crystals was something that I first started like being able to feel in my head. I was like, oh, at first I was like, oh, that's cool, it's cool. And then over time, I was keep using them, feeling them. I was like, oh wow, that's strange. Like feel something in my head. And I was always like, I was smart. I was always, seeing things. I was like understanding, very intelligent about because I had to. I was forced. I was forced
You
to help
had
them.
an abuse of benefit.
Yeah, kind of, pretty much. And the peanut gland really was something that I always come across to as like, oh, I gotta make sure I be able to see because I always was seeing energy around me. I never understood it until later on. And I was always seeing these, blotches in my eyes, in the corner of my eyes. I was seeing that. Sometimes I just see white specks everywhere. Sometimes I sneeze so hard for a short while. I see actual white dots floating and they just disappear. I thought it was just maybe my eyes, I sneezed, I got something in my eyes. Oh, no, 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 no. It was, I was able to see that.
Right.
And it really started connecting with the cards, started connecting with Jay's, when Spain how Jay explains it. And then with my own researching myself through that, I was like, wow, your hypothalamus is very important to keep your brain. When I first run out with sugar, your brain needs sugar. It runs on sugar.
Right.
You gotta be careful how much sugar this kid.
And
Remember,
what kind of sugar?
yeah,
Like raw sugar that's white, refined from sugar cane, is not a good frequency sugar. But something from honey or something
mhm,
from fruit, fructose, those are natural sugars, and it's totally different.
yeah, and those are combined with fiber, which is your body has the ability to digest much better than
Yeah.
if it's on its own. And that's
Coca-Cola drinkers, man, I mean, they're just going to kill themselves.
I should probably I don't know if she I'll say I've known some family members who has some problems with soda.
Right.
He actually has surgeries.
I think it's addictive.
It is very addictive. My favorite soda for a while longest was root beer. I always drink root beer. But after a while, not until I say 2 to 3 years ago, well, 2 to 3 years, I stopped drinking like Coca-Cola, soda, and all together. I try to find ginger beer every once in a
Yep.
while, or just natural juices
Sure.
because it was messing with my brain. It was messing with my peanut gland. It was making,
I
yeah,
hate to say this again, but we're visitors to hell. And the atmosphere and the environment here is not conducive to a spiritual growth or enlightenment. Absolutely not. And
mhm,
you have to wake up. And waking up is not just some kind of magic show. It's a self-realization. It's how to live in this world comfortably and successfully without getting destroyed. And I'm talking about on multiple levels, physically or otherwise.
that's why, especially for your pineal gland and crown chakra, knowing that that can be used by the other side for those who are nefarious. That's why, for example, when you smoke weed, for example, like I'm a cannabis user, but like I limit it now, like every once in a while. Now it's like once a month or maybe once a couple weeks.
Well, you watch the thing further.
Yeah, I understand that.
Now,
It's
I don't want to talk tonight. I want you to talk. But if you have run out of things to say, I'm going to tell you story number two.
okay. Uh, I struggle with it. I struggle with actually, at first it was a way to cope with like my running thoughts. It's like
Yes.
my mind just goes.
Yes.
And then they got to the point where I realized that it was not helping me later on. I had struggles trying to like explain to myself. I never wrote it down.
Would it be
Now
true
when
you learn everything you need to know about yourself and the pot, which
yeah,
important realization. You learn that within about 3 days, and after that, that's over, right?
Yeah. And it was pop was really something that I have to come to terms with realizing that it's not worth it because it takes away your connection to the other side. Over your sacral energy, your, for example, the color orange, passion.
Anything that stands in the way of your natural perception.
Yeah, it just makes it running strong, overreacts, and it's like it gets to the point where it's too much. That's why they always made weed and sex together. When the
That's good. Weed and
Yeah,
sex together. Well, yeah, I like that.
yeah, it was a big deal because weed actually gets you in the mood, right? It was something that really was like, very, very passionate. Um,
Well,
and it
the girl likes it because it extends your ability.
Yeah, but it doesn't do what they think it does anymore. What they believe they experience is still not the full truth of it.
Well, that's a very good example because look at it this way. If you have to rely on something, like you broke your leg, so you need a crutch.
Yeah.
Can't make love without smoking up.
Hmm.
What? That's taking something away from you.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm a great lover and I don't need anything, right? So why would I want to get myself into a situation where I need something?
Yeah.
And that's just not, the whole Viagra thing. How disgusting.
Oh, yeah. That.
But
Ooh.
whatever it is, that's
There's like so many different types now.
why can't we just be natural? Why can't we just be human? Why can't we just love and live in a world of harmony? Why do we have to have these constant pressures to make yourself enhanced? And it's the whole, but we're getting ourselves in trouble here, but it's the whole AI agenda, isn't it? You have to have an implant to make your brain work better. You have to have some kind of stimulant to make your sex life better. You have to have this and have to have that. No, you don't have to have any of it. All you have to achieve is humanity.
Mhm. And then once you get away from that, and you actually clear yourself, you
Yeah,
or through your brain. Because
yeah.
for me, I can see really well. I can actually see, I can see not into the future too far, but I can understand what's going to happen in a couple days.
I know that you're better than me at that, Walker. I have my gifts, you have yours, and I know
Yeah,
that's why I've reached out to you because you have a gift that I do not have, and I think we need to work together.
you can get to it. There's your abilities will always be in your life. What you need in that life, your abilities will, your focal points, your understanding will go to that. So there's different people
All
who
true words. Those are
yeah.
excellent. Those are wise words.
So it was you knowing that it really brings to understanding like their abilities and how they interact and the constant trust that you come back to. All these things you think can help you, all these things that's being used against you, um, you step away from it, quiet yourself. The hardest thing you can do is relax. And for you,
Absolutely.
and
And
this,
be open to the other side and its influence.
yeah. And the peanut gland was something that I really, really like love understanding. And I was, as a child, seeing weird things all the time. I couldn't explain it to my family. I was mute. I couldn't really talk that much. So I was just seeing it all the time. My parents always had trouble. Because why are you talking to yourself in the room all the time? At that time, they didn't know. I was talking to my guys, my friends. I was a child. And that was how I was able to, understand, like, not be alone.
I want
I
to
was,
be I want to be respectful to your family, but is it fair to say that you were born into a situation that challenged you spiritually?
yes, yes, indeed, very indeed. Um, I many times I had nightmares where I realize now that it was intended to make sure that I don't use my abilities to see. I always heard this, that my family's like, "Oh, you're so stubborn." And I
So
was like,
the tarot cards are stacked against us? What the F?
yeah. It would it really, yeah, it brought in, they try to keep things that I was able to use, my own abilities.
Right.
And tarot cards brought me back into it
I
because
get it. That's the full circle that I wanted to get from you tonight.
yeah, that was it brought me back into my true self because I started seeing, knowing, feeling all the time. Then gone.
Look what Jay says. He's not special. I'm not special. You're not special. We're all the same. It's just that some of us have lost our abilities
Yes.
and we have to all recover them. And so one of the things that helps a lot are stones, stone energies, because it's like things like music, or he calls them vitamins,
Yeah.
vitamins.
Yeah, I have them right here too.
Oh yeah.
I have my own. I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
my own
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Like we're like those drug dealers with the gold chains, like except we're not doing that side. We're doing,
No.
and you can have some like some nice amethyst. Uh,
Yeah. I have my let's see.
yeah,
I have a few.
yeah. Pull out your stuff, dude. I want to see your stuff. Yeah, So we've got our things, and these things are energetic things. They have energy.
Got a few. I used to collect stones a lot, and now I'm like
No,
I got
yeah, we're going way over an hour here, Walter.
yeah, really.
I don't care. I don't care if you're fine. That looks like that stuff. I've got some of that. Yep.
Yeah, selenite.
Selenite,
This is
selenite.
yeah. It's I love this for clearing. It really, when I feel it, it really is just like I feel it run through my body.
I can feel it from here. I can feel it from here because you know how the internet works, right? It's actually
Yeah.
connecting directly, and I can feel that right now.
And then one of my personal is Damberite.
Demerite, yeah.
You can see right here.
Magnificent. Nice crystal.
Yeah, and I have this. This is was one thing that really just cleared my head.
When you brought that into my screen, you see, because you've woken me up a little bit tonight, and your influence is extremely strong, and I felt that. I felt it coming closer.
And then another one that I use for healing personally was serpentine.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that,
I
but
don't, yeah, my personal energy doesn't get much from that one, but
oh, interesting.
that's fine. That we're all different.
Bornite I have.
Oh, now that one gives me a little bit of a feeling of stability, like the foundation of a house. That makes me
Yes.
feel strong.
Yeah. For it clears you. It clears the negative energy out of you, allows you to be back to your stable self, which you just said.
Okay, we can't let you get away with this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna get you back. All right. Now, this is just a normal pyrite. But people like pyrite. People like
yes,
pyrite.
it's part of Bornite. Oh,
Pyrite's kind of cool because it's sparkly and all that, and people like pyrite. But
I'm
pyrite,
feeling it more on the top of my head.
you know what's cool about it? It reflects. It reflects the energy from all around us, and it shoots it back at us. So
Yeah.
it's like a little lens.
Oh, I'm feeling the more in my solar plexus and more in my top of my head.
Now, what do you got here? What do we got here? Ooh, yeah. Now,
Is that sodalite?
no, it's
It's
lapis lazuli,
really.
but it's been tumbled in a tumbler. So
Oh, that's why I thought it was sodalite a little bit.
yeah, well, you know what? I might be wrong because I got so many stones around the house because of my wife that this could be like I'm going to go for you on this. I get confused between what stones I've got. So, do you think this is sodalite or do you think this is lapis? Actually, you know what? I think you're right. Sodalite, because lapis is much different color.
Yeah, lapis has more of that gold. Yeah, I honestly think that's like a darker version of salt light, but I could be wrong.
Here's some gold, by the way. I like gold. Gold is cool. Gold makes me feel comfortable. Calm,
Oh, I feel that one.
calms me down.
Yeah,
Makes me feel.
yeah,
It's almost like smoking pot, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh, you know, gold has a very interesting aspect in history, and
uh,
the first thing that came to my mind for some reason is I remember, and this is the Pope. The Pope had this chariot of gold,
right.
and I always remember it's like, man, he's because Jay said that gold stores your energy.
What is with all these elite cabal royal families and they
They
got
love to take, and they want to show off. And gold is used as that.
it's like Donald Trump, you know, you go to his penthouse in New York, the place is gold plated. What?
He loves his gold.
Yeah.
They always know how to use it because it brings the people in, and then it shows the completion of what it really represents.
I
Yellow has always been active.
I once had the experience of visiting Versailles Palace in France.
Oh,
I was
nice.
a university student, and I tell you, that place is gold plated. You walk into the Palace of Mirrors, and you're walking through tens of thousands of dollars of gold gilding as you walk down the hall, and the sunlight comes in and it reflects from the mirrors that are on both sides. He used to do that every morning. What an energy trip.
Wow.
Louis the 18th. What the, what are these people doing? They're doing energetics
And it's right in front of your face.
right in front of your face, and you don't see it. You don't understand it. You think it's just some kind of fashion or some kind of showing off that they're rich. No.
I know they know what they're using for, like, for example, lapis lazuli.
Yes.
Um, is always you always sometimes see leaders have or women leaders have these necklaces.
Yes.
Lapis lazuli. It helps them be able to talk.
Yes.
Helps them to be profound, empowering. It helps them clear because if they don't have it on them, they're a little woozy. They can get the message, but it's not as strong
Right.
because people connect through energy.
Well, that's why we're strong tonight. We have our vitamins.
Yep, we have our vitamins indeed, and it can be used in any which ways. But the people who are nefarious wants to put their impressions, their energy behind it, and they will use and use until there's no more. That's why whenever, for example, artifacts in different countries has been rated by museums, and people pay top dollar to get those. There's some stuff that we don't even understand that
So
has been,
coming from Babylonia, brought back by a one of those Americans that were there in
yeah,
deserts.
yeah, and it's like it has a very strong energy imprint from back in that time, and it's still there. Because energy just doesn't leave stones unless you overcook it in the oven too high, and it's energy is like, I don't like this, I'm gonna get out.
Right.
But as long as that doesn't happen and it's from nature, it will always be there. And even if it's big and it's carved, it will still be there. And so people are drawn to that, which is very important, which is still goes back to your brain, your piano, energy, your heart, your solar plexus, your sacrum, your root. It's all the channels of your energy. And there's way more chakras, but those are the basic ones that we understand. That's much more simplified. And so these are used in uh, groups, in movements, parades, anything that's in leaders or users as a way to empower themselves, but keep away from others. Just so they know, oh, okay, I got you. I got this power. I got this energy. I'll use it to the benefit. But if I let them use it, they will understand. They will see.
I like to give to some of my students who are more enlightened, not normal students, but ones who are interested. I like to give this example of voodoo. You take some hair or some clothing or intimate article of the person that you want to harm, because remember, voodoo is dark.
Hmm.
And you make a little doll. It doesn't have to look like that person. It's just a symbolic representation. Okay. And then if you don't like them and you want to harm them, you take a little knife and you just stab that doll every day for a while. And after a while, the energetic resonance will go to them physically and make them sick, or perhaps make them die.
Hmm.
There's a direct connection between the energetic action that you're doing and their physical well-being. Now, what did I just say? Was that a fantasy? Was that black magic? Was that something that you believe is true? Or do you think I'm just making up some stupid story that's like a superstition? Okay, fine. Give me some of your hair and some of your shirt, and I'll make a little doll and I'll stab it every day. And if you don't, are you okay with that? You said you didn't believe me, so you don't mind, right? No, wrong. Everybody, even the most blind person, knows at an instinctual level that making a little doll from your hair or your shirt and stabbing it every day is not a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Okay?
It's interesting that you brought that up because I'm actually Haitian American. And in Haiti, voodoo is one of the biggest practices.
Of course.
And my family, like, it was always been known that there's clothes that you wear. Do not let other family members take your clothes
Ooh. And
because they could be used against you.
yes, that's right. Please tell me more, Walker. Well, now we're getting into the down and dirty.
Yes, and to give it more clear understanding how that how I see that happens,
Right.
it's more as just another when you're using somebody else's clothes, the energy has been wrapped around that. The energy when I'm wearing this shirt, I've always wearing this shirt. Everyone knows this is my shirt.
That's right.
So the energy that's just I have is gonna be recognizable by the other side.
Yep.
So if someone takes this shirt, makes it all, or makes a ritual or say certain things, the other side sees that. It's like, oh wow, so they really want to do this. Okay, let me go over to this person and mess with them. That's actually how voodoo works. It's the other side being
Absolutely.
able to move to the other person and affecting them and using the energy that the person is bringing forth, taking it and then doing the action. There's always the action.
Full disclosure number two, I'm not a practitioner of black magic, and I never have been, but I do understand how it works.
Yeah, I actually, this is a little history in my family. I found this out like a few years ago.
Right.
The reason why my mom and my dad were religious, were into religion within Catholic and Protestant,
Yes.
was because their grandparents were voodoo priests,
Right.
and the families did not want to be around that. So they went into uh through like the God religion and singular
As
just
a
to get
form of apology.
yeah, to get away from that, just to see realize what they have done and what they've done wrong. And then the Bible and how the information is being brought is always just gonna be twisted. It's just nothing is true there. And there's a lot of symbolic references there too, because tarot's members, it's moments in
Right.
past times. So that's why certain tarot you can actually realize it has a better connection for certain people. But your guys are using that to bring you onto an information system and then move into the cleaner side of it. And voodoo really was something that was never good. Like you can hear it and you can feel it. And my family just didn't want nothing to do with it.
The dark has existed in all societies because we do live in a hell
Mhm.
when we come down to this existence. No matter what country, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what culture we happen to be in, it just gets expressed as voodoo in the Caribbean traditionally, and it gets expressed as Satanism, say, in Western.
Sacrifices, which is why I always was like, sacrifices, no, no. And it's just going back to Mayan Aztec culture. This is just wrong. And
Yeah, we're not going to go into detail for our audience.
yeah.
Some people, but I understand exactly what you're talking about.
The trying to keep
Try to keep it, let's say, philosophical or symbolic.
yeah, it's sacrifice. Well, you do like sacrifices. Everyone knows when you sacrifice something, you're giving up something for something better, right?
Okay, let's do it. Look, if
Yeah,
you're
just
killing something,
yeah.
you're
Oh,
taking.
no. I say sacrifice, and just in general, in everyday life, you sacrifice for your child sometimes to make sure they have clothes on their back.
Right.
That's just a basic example everyone knows. That's sacrifice. That's okay. That's understanding. That's caring for someone. But then you have sacrifices where it's for yourself.
Right. Selfish purposes.
Yes, when there's selfish purposes and the energy behind self, which is very, very this goes into favoritism. You're saying, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice this so I can hopefully the other side who's controlling the other side will give me something so I can control these group of people, or I can keep my enemies out of the way. Not going too
But
far.
it's not to help others, it's to help
Yeah, not to help others. And that's why whenever I hear voodoo sacrifices, it was interesting because it was like, huh, so they're doing all these rituals just to make sure that this one person who went to this voodoo priest to destroy this person's life for a selfish need, for their own self-absorbed arrogance. It just follows through.
And
That's
what's the mechanism?
yeah.
What you're doing is you're taking in your 3D world power the life of an innocent,
Mhm.
and you're giving that energy because you're redirecting it. Normally, it would go to its life and it would gain experience and it would become enlightened if we lived in a paradise, which
Yeah.
we should. But it doesn't, because you have interdicted, you've killed it, and therefore you can redirect its energy to the dark that cannot create. It needs food because it cannot create its own energy because
Yeah.
it's not light, it's dark. So
Yeah.
we're not going to go into the details on that.
Yeah,
But
it's the summarize it's the death of the soul.
yeah, so it's feeding, and you're feeding it, and it's promising you a reward. It's promising you some benefit, and of course it can do that perhaps because this is the world of the dark,
Mm-hmm.
and they run the place. So
It's their rules.
it's their rules, man. You live in their house, you got to follow their rules.
Yeah, I remember my family members saying that. It's like my house, my rules.
My house, my rules. And then you look at your at mama and papa, and I'm not saying that your family is
No, yeah,
hard.
it's okay.
That's what I'm saying. But the point is, we're all under the rules of that house. And you know what? Without that, we could not exist, because you need positive, you need negative, you need light, you need dark. It's part of reality. And I don't criticize. I don't point my finger, but I don't partake. I don't feed from that system of you get a benefit if you lie and cheat on the election. You get a benefit if you sacrifice some children and therefore you can have money and power. I don't want that for myself because I think that it's evil.
Yeah, and just seeing the time is 10:23. 23 actually is animals. That's actually if you look up the word animals and not S, but animals, and you bring it down to the numbers, is actually 23. And every time I see that, I see animals, and we were just speaking about sacrifices. The reason sacrifices were really was brought around was the abuse towards animals.
So that was the old religion,
Yeah,
sacrificing a goat.
yeah. It was all literally just to make the funny bone of the original being that actually just suspected, oh, if you can do this for me, do this to the animal, and then I'll see if your higher loyalty.
Okay, Walker, I've never talked about this ever before, because it's extremely dangerous in a way, energetically. But I believe that we have protection tonight, and I believe that we're making this discussion about the real essence of the light and the dark and good and evil in a divine way, and therefore I'm not going to censor myself like I usually do because I've read the books. I'm familiar with Aleister Crowley. I'm familiar with the Roman Empire and their satanic practices. I'm familiar with voodoo a little bit, you much more.
Mhm.
And you know what? I believe that right now, in this world today, if we look around us, we're in a war between good and evil. It's not about Trump or Biden. It's not about the cabal or the white hats, you know, politically. It's not about uh, politics or money or just Sarah Nasara or QFS or all these things that people talk about, like a reformation of the world system. No, it's a deeper level, and that's why I was attracted to your readings, because I think you're connected. You're tied in to the energetic situation.
That's You said it all right there. Um,
Thank you, sir.
it's it's just I don't know what happens. There's nothing more I can say towards that. Uh,
That's okay. We've had a fantastic conversation, and we're going to finish in a few minutes. But please give me some closing comments.
okay. Actually, from my side, when I did my own research,
Yes.
I started having faith in myself. Um, when I come across certain people,
Wow.
I
Fantastic.
when I come across certain people in my life, my spirit guys really was saying, oh, these situations you have to learn from. Yes, some of them suck, but you get a wise understanding. For example, eight is this, learning, understanding, and information, and it goes into nine. And I was going back and forth between eight and nine the past 6, 7 years. It started when I left high school to go to Austin, Texas.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for opening your personal stories tonight, because it's so important.
yeah, and doing my own research and having faith in myself really was the driving force. Because I was in deep depression when I was in Austin. I didn't really have good. I had friends, but I wasn't able to talk about this stuff.
Right?
And it was hard because it was like I knew so much. It was almost back like when I was a kid. I was mute. I didn't understand how things were going on, but everyone else was running this rat race. They were running this drinking, drugs, you know, making decisions that
They
were like
call it culture.
culture. Yes, it's always the culture. Um, the culture of how they impersonate on you. And my guides really helped me through my tarot, and just numbers and the constant willingness to learn really brought me into these situations and able to learn from it. And that's why I will continue to do this. Continue to show people it's okay to be you. It's okay to use your own energy. It's okay that maybe the truth of what someone sees is not your same truth, but it is you can see through the lies
Beyond the veil.
beyond the veil. See the unseen. Feel the unfeel. Know the unknown.
You're a treasure, Walker. You are a treasure, and I'm going to give you all my support at all levels. And thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Of
And
course.
I'm
Same here. You have my support, of course.
going to put a link to your website, which is a hidden treasure for now, but in the future will be a widely experienced one, I believe. And maybe in a while let's get together again. And
Oh yeah, I would love to have these. I don't know how we're gonna work it out, but as long as we continue to talk, we can have we can talk about things because I love to talk and I love to give out information. And I heard you said you love to give out information. I've been hearing your videos, and I was like
I'm
match
video.
made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I'm a video making machine. I just do it, do it, do it. And I'm doing one every, 2 or 3 days sometimes. And the reason is because it's the pent up frustration of many, many years of living in this situation, this diasporic, dystopia. Now, diaspora means you have to leave your home, and
Yes.
dystopia means you live in a reverse reality. And
Mhm.
I've had to leave my home and I've had to come down here, and now I am in this crazy situation. And like-minded people uh, have to band together, and that's why it's such a pleasure to meet you, sir.
It was a
Okay,
pleasure to meet you too.
so good night, and good luck, and we'll see you again soon.
We will. All
And
right, thank you.
I'll send you the no, did you record this, by the way?
It didn't let me.
Okay, no problem. I'll send you that, and I'll find a way to do it. Don't worry.
Okay, awesome.
Good night, Walker.
Have a good night.